Overriding. Overriding is applicable only for inherited classes, and overriding is a property of object-oriented programming which allows both a base and derived class have members with same name. So the base and derived class, or the parent and child class, can have data members and member functions with the same name. Any data member or member function or task in the parent class can be overridden in the child class. So this is the meaning of the word overriding. So the functionality in the base class are overridden by the child class when you define the same function or a same data member within the child class. When the members are accessed through the objects of the same class type, overriding is applied in a straightforward manner. And when the members are accessed through the objects of the base class, that is after assigning base class object is equal to derived class object, reference to the base object will always access the methods and properties of the base class, not of the derived class. So this will be more clear when you look at an example in the next slide. So as you know now, overriding is a property of data members or member functions with same name. Now consider overriding of data members. That means the base class and the derived class having data members with the same name. So consider this example. Class A, there's a data member named I. It's an integer type, and with the new function we are passing the value of integer I, and we'll assign this dot I is equal to I. And another class B is extended from A. It's again having the same data member named as I. So here the data member I of the base class A is overriding in the child class B. And again with the new function we'll be passing the value of I, and we'll be assigning this like this dot I is equal to I. So this is the meaning of overriding data members. So it's a property of base and child classes having data members with the same name. In this case the name is I. Now in the program, consider you are defining two objects like A is equal to A1 and B is equal to B1, and another integer variable B. You are creating A1 as A1 is equal to new of 5. Thus you are passing an argument 5 to this new function of the object A1. Thus A1 dot I will be equal to 5. And in the same way B1 is created with passing an argument 6. Thus if you access B1 dot I, it will be equal to 6. And if you are assigning like V is equal to A1 dot I, A1 dot I will return 5, and B is equal to, if you are assigning B is equal to B1 dot I, then B1 dot I will return 6. Now coming back to the statement in the previous slide, when you override data members or member functions, when the members are accessed through the objects of the same class type, overriding is applied in a straightforward manner. So the reference to the base object will access the methods and properties of the base class, and reference to the derived object will access the methods and properties of the derived class. This is very straightforward applied in this example. You are accessing a data member of the base class with a base class object like a1.i, then it will access the data member of the base class. And when you are accessing a data member of the derived class of this I with a object of a derived class like b1.i, then it will directly access the data member within the derived class. Now you will learn how overriding will work once you have made an assignment like base object is equal to derived object. So once you made this assignment, all the reference to the base object will always point to the methods and functions or the data members of the base class and not that of the derived class. Consider the same example in the previous slide. These two statements I have added extra, and here you have initiated the b1.i data member with a value of 6 because you are creating b1 with by passing a value of 6 in the new function, which will eventually assign the data member b1.i with 6 by this new function definition. And the same way the a1.i will be equal to 5 because we are calling in the new function of a1 with 5. So here a1.i will be 5 and b1.i will be 6. Now once you made an assignment like a1 is equal to b1, so here this assignment is like base object is equal to derived object. So you know this is a legal assignment. You can always assign like base object is equal to derived object, but you cannot assign like derived object is equal to base object, which you have learned in the previous session. So once you made an assignment like base is equal to derived, when you access a1.i, so you expect a1.i to be equal to 6, because you know b1.i is equal to 6. So once you made this assignment a1 is equal to b1, you will also expect a1.i to be returned 6, but it will not return 6, but it will return 5. And the reason is, once you made an assignment like base object is equal to derived object, the references to the base object will always access the methods and data members of the base class and not that of the derived class. So when you are calling a1.i, or when you are accessing the object of the base class, it will always access the respective property of the base class. Here it will always access the data member I of the base class, not that of the derived class, even though you have assigned like base is equal to derived object. Let me summarize the session quickly. So you have learned overriding is a property of defining class properties with the same name in the base class and derived class. There are two types of overriding. You can either override a data member of a class or override a member function of a class. So you have learned data member overriding in this session, and also you have learned that once you made an assignment like base object is equal to derived object, the data member overriding is not really working in the system programming. And in the next session you will learn member function overloading and member task overloading.